you don't have purpose, anything can rock your boat. But if you find yourself purpose in life, you're going to see even the bad days you don't regret because you're going in the good direction, going to your purpose.
Welcome to the Happiness and Progress podcast. I'm your host, Danielle Craig. I'm an Emmy Award-winning journalist, international speaker, mom, wife, and you know what I like to say, just a person looking for more joy in the everyday. I had the most amazing opportunity to sit down and interview a legend, and I now get to share that conversation with you. Rickson Gracie is the leader of the most prominent martial arts family of all time. He reigned as a world Jiu Jitsu champion in both the middle heavyweight and open divisions for almost 2 decades. He retired with an undefeated record, and since he has been diagnosed with Parkinson's disease. In his new book, Comfort in Darkness, The Invisible Power of Jiu Jitsu, he talks about all of that. And that's what we're going to talk about today. We are going to talk about confronting fear, getting in balance physically, mentally, and spiritually, and how this Parkinson's disease has not taken him out, just like a competitor. It has not taken him out. And he's going to continue fighting, and he's going to share his inspiration and hope and tips for you to do the same in this episode. So let's get to it. Rickson, thank you so much for coming on the podcast today.
My pleasure, Danielle.
I'm so excited to have you. I absolutely loved reading through your book. One of the things that stuck out to me as I was reading is that you said people who don't take part in jiu-jitsu are the ones that need the benefits of what you have to say the most. Why is that?
Yes, because I feel like the community as a whole is being dehumanizing by technology, robotics, internet. People live very, very, very intensively in a virtual universe, which take you from your feelings, take you from your perception of the now and here and now. You stay always away from the real time and the real moments. So you see youngsters today with a lack of communication. They don't know how to shake hands properly. They don't know how to look in the eye, how approach a girl, or negotiating buy something with asking for a discount. So they don't have the liveliness of living the moment. They pretty much expecting looking the best way they look, expecting just post what they want. They want to be where they want. So it becomes a virtual universe which they make real. But they need the most is developing the sense of balance, the sense of connection, the sense of timing, which martial arts can give greatly for the practitioners.
It's that disconnection with the self.
Yes.
I think you're absolutely right about that. So how can we get reconnected? We live in this world and we do have all this technology that you talked about. We've got these fake lives that we're putting out on social media. How can we get reconnected with ourselves?
Yeah, Jiu-Jitsu itself as a sport, which make you feel like and think the now. Because as you get into the mat, you cannot think about problems in the past or because things in the future. You have to be connected because people want to choke you, people want to throw you, people want to take you off balance. And you have the responsibility to be active and be present. But a lot of people doesn't like this engagement, this fighting aspect. So I'm not a fighter, so I don't like jiu-jitsu. So they're deadly wrong. Because just by practice a self-defense aspect of jiu-jitsu, which is not the sport jiu-jitsu, through self-defense, you cannot start to understand elements in your life, like if you're being attacked or if you're being grabbed. You don't have to learn how to fight. You just have to know how to escape or how to make leverage or how to have balance or how to regain your balance. So it's a knowledge which can be very gentle to the body and to the physique. It's not a stressful or a fight, but it's a knowledge once you get, you become more confident in yourself. You become a better father, a better nurse, a better police officer, because you become more grounded, more capable to resolve the matters as the matters happen. And that's increase your potential to be more present and resolving your matters, because we all have problems. And when you have a problem, you try to resolve the matter. But if the problem has no solution, you have to accept it. So, in my view, the warrior cannot be only physical warrior. He has to be thinking about his mental health, stress, disappointments, frustrations, anxiety. So he has also to think about his spiritual body, hope, faith, connections, and strategy. So the idea of having the trilogy of thinking yourself, body, mind, spirit, and try to fix as a whole, that's more martial arts than any specific sport.
Mm-hmm.
Because the sports keep you on the box of rules.
Right.
Martial arts bring you unpredictable things. So you have to be more capable to create the reflexes to become mechanics for the moment. So you don't know if you have to survive or if you have to kill. So the idea is to be prepared.
I want to come back to the trinity of Jiu Jitsu in a minute, but first I want to talk about the mindset because I really liked this story that you told in the book. It was about claustrophobia. It
Yeah.
was when you were a teenager, you got in this headlock and you had this fight or flight response, and you realized, oh, I've got a problem here with the claustrophobia. So you went home and asked your brother to wrap you up in a carpet. Tell me a
Yeah.
little bit about what happened next and why that experience was important to you when it came to your fear.
Yeah, in a fight, no matter how technical you are, if you get caught in a very tough situation against a much stronger opponent, you have to keep your calmness. You have to be able to breathe. You have to be able to survive before you escape. And as I was a teenager, I was a little anxious, and I get caught in a position by a very strong fellow, and I could not escape, and I tap. But I tap emotionally. I didn't tap because the guy has good techniques on me. And I got very upset, went home, and tried to represent the claustrophobic feelings through being rolled in the carpet and tell my brother to take me out only in 10 minutes. So the first minute was a nightmare, like get claustrophobic, get anxious, get the hot Brazil 120 degrees humidity. So everything was against me, my emotions. So I start to think about the sea breeze, the ocean, the wind touched my face, and I stayed calm, and I could handle the 10 minutes. After this first action, the same year, I did 3 more times to make sure I was calm and tranquil. At the very last time, I was there like for 10 minutes, just waiting for the time pass because I was completely comfortable.
Wow.
So
Wow.
I realized I could fix myself in a lot of elements. After that, I learned how to breathe properly with a master, Orlando Kane, who gave me a good insight about how important is the lung capacity of breathing to help in your mind and your heart, because the mind and the heart are the only organs in the body who can give and receive information. And the lung has the capacity to be connected with your brain. As you're anxious, as you're claustrophobic, you can just transform the whole emotions and feel calm again to deal with the problem. As your stamina goes bad and you're tired or you have claustrophobic feelings, you also can help by hyperventilation, calm your heart, and have more endurance. So I was able to get into a flow in my breathing system, which made me feel like no tired. I could fight forever with no time because I always hyperventilated before I get tired. And that's the technique for divers, for singers, for yoga masters, is how to use the breathing, because you can spend 7 days without food. You can spend 3 days without, I mean, 7 days without food, 3 days without water, and 5 minutes without bread, you're dead. So when you know how to because people normally don't know how to breathe, they breathe in a shallow breath. And this becomes emotional, claustrophobic. When you know how to use the diaphragm and use your diaphragmatic breathing, you can assess the big part of your lungs, which is on the back. You just can assess the back part of your lungs if you know how to use the diaphragm. So by using effectively the diaphragmatic breathing, you can like overcome tiredness, become calm under pressure, become completely in control of your senses. So breathing is a great addition to my knowledge as a martial artist.
I loved that in the book because I had it. We always talk about, it's a week without food, days without, or sorry, a week without, a week without food, days without water, but I hadn't heard that breath part, minutes without air. And the breath, it's so important. Can we do like a breathing exercise right now? What would it be? It's inhaling through the nose.
Yeah, the idea of the breathing exercise is instead, because normally when you're born and you get slapped on your butt,
Yeah.
and you keep this kind of shallow breathe here on your chest. And us is the only mammals who breathes with the shallow part. All the animals breathing, breathing like, I don't know if you can see, but let me lift a little bit.
Yeah.
So when you breathe, you move your belly, not because the air goes to the belly, but you push with the belly down with the diaphragmatic muscle, and you bring the air to the lungs here on the back. So you double the amount of gas, the air you have intaking every breath. And if you do hyperventilation, you really get yourself full of blood in your system, which gives you a little like feels like you're dizzy because it's so much oxygen.
Mm-hmm.
So when you start using the oxygen either for surfing, you see today the tennis players, they breathe as they play. Hey, 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 hey. The boxers. So if you start to breathing and move together, like dogs do,
Yeah.
so the idea of using the diaphragmatic breathing increases huge amounts of calmness, control, stamina, good vibes. So know how to breathe. It's like having a full cup of water when you're thirsty. If you don't know how to breathe, you're gonna get a sip, and it's still always in a deficit of oxygen. So it's better learn how to breathe as quick as possible.
Yeah. I mean, even just taking a couple breaths like that as you were explaining how to do it, it feels like a nervous system reset. It just feels like calm.
Yes, breathing can have many advantages. For meditative state of mind, you calm yourself to the max, to sleeping, to control emotions. Like if you in front of the computer and you receive a bad letter, a bad email, say how you get upset, and then you just quiet down, empty it out, and inhale. And then exhale.
That's so powerful.
So you can calm yourself after a little, if you do like with the move. If you start to understand the mechanics of your emotions with the breathing combined, you cannot keep thinking about other problems. You have to be focused on movement and breathing. 5 minutes on this protocol, you're going to look at the same email and say, wow, I have to do something about it. But it's not in your system anymore. You're not acid. You're not kind of boiling with this. Sometimes you don't know how to release that emotion. You go to the bed like this, you wake up next day, you spend a month with this metal, this heavy thing kind of block you out. If you know how to breathe, the problem is gonna still there, but you have the relief of taking from your system, and you calm, and you can eat well, you can sleep at will, you can relax, and you're gonna resolve your matter. And if there's no solution, you just move on. But that's not gonna burn you from inside.
I just, our minds are so dramatic. And what I was thinking about, you in that carpet as this young teenager, what were how did you push past that initial fear to get to the point where it was a totally comfortable experience?
Was purpose in my life.
Mm.
Because in life, if you don't have purpose, all the activities, discipline, commitment, they get weaken you, get shallow. But my purpose was representing the family in the highest levels possible. And at the time, to be a representative, you have to fight MMA more than the you see today, because today has rules, but my time was no time limits, no weight divisions. I could get a giant against me, no rule set, no gloves, no mouthpiece, no cups, no, could be on asphalt, could be on the concrete, could be on the mat. So it was crazy. In order for me to feel comfortable in that environment, I had to cope with my physicality, my mental health, and my spirituality. So for me, I become more focused and enhance the trilogy of myself, like body, mind, spirit, than actually just thinking about technical moves.
So that trinity of Jiu Jitsu, that mental, physical, and spiritual, what would be your advice to someone listening? How to get there, how to get those in balance?
I feel like through a comprehensive jiu-jitsu class of self-defense, you start to understand the mechanics of being comfortable under pressure, because you start to adding leverage and angles and techniques to be comfortable in hell. Through a comprehensive understanding of your breathing, you can understand how to calm yourself mentally against depression, anxiety. You be more calm, be more positive, be more reactive to the positive actions in your life. And with a good positive mindset, you can add to your spirituality, like with hope. Because at my time, if I don't have hope, I was in trouble. If I don't have acceptance of even my sacrificing myself, because in my mission, you could not quit is not an option. And the first time I won my first professional fight against King Zulu, which was a man, I was 19, he was 30 years old.
Wow.
He has won 20 fights undefeated. And I just started debut. So when that fight happened, and at the end of the first round, I quit to my dad. I went to the corner, said, Dad, I cannot go back there. And my dad said, no, he's worse than you. You go there now, you're going to kick ass. You're going to be tough. You're going to do. He said, Dad, I tried to argue with my dad. I don't want to go back there because I was exhausted. My brother Hollis threw me a bucket of ice and water. And then bang, they pushed me in, and I won the fight, but not with my will. After 3 minutes, I put the guy to sleep. But I felt like I was disappointed with myself because I quit. So, with that experience, I said to myself, I prefer to die next time than quit. Quitting is my worst enemy, because it's in my mind, tell me to quit. So I prefer to get hurt, or my brother throw the towel, or something happen, but quitting is not an option.
Yeah.
So with this in mind, I start to build up more confidence, and I start to understand the need for spirituality, because if you in the ultimate level, I have to accept death. Like a fireman, when they commit to save a child in the top of the building, if he don't visualize the possibility for him to die, he's not a good fireman. He has to know he don't want to die. He want to keep with his family, but his line of work he pick, he could die because he has the job to save other people. So a fireman or a Navy SEAL or a SWAT team guy, he commits to do the good, but his possibilities for dying is there. So he has to accept this in a way to not make him quit in the middle of the action. So he's ready to go. And that's what I feel like after this experience. I was ready to die for what I believe. And then acceptance, hope, faith are very important tools for the spiritual warrior I start to use and recruit every time.
And this is all part of your, would you call that even, the hope and the acceptance part of the psychological base?
Yes, that's I call invisible jiu-jitsu.
I know this has served you so much through your life. Life is hard. Life throws us all the curveballs, which I know you've been experiencing and have experienced through life. How has having that psychological base in place helped you through the hardships of your life?
Oh, that's for me, the building up my character and acceptance with hope and faith and commitment and hard work. I think that was a building block for what I believe is the perfect combination for a spiritual warrior, because being a warrior is part of every one of us. We all need challenge. We all have problems to resolve. And the spiritual warrior, he actually don't have to win by fighting. He can, because you have two options. You can fight to win, or you can win without a fight. If I'm going out of the movie theater with my wife and walking to the parking lot 10 minutes away from this road, but I have a shortcut which takes me 7 minutes if I go in this alley. And as I get into the alley, I see a gangbangers and tough guys and drinking and like in a bad mode. I'm gonna win if I stay straight. Let's go back to the main course here. Let's go. I don't want to prove, oh, I'm a champion, I'm a tough guy. Let me pass for those guys to see what's up. Mm-hmm. I could get hurt. My wife can get hurt. Problems. So knowing how to avoid forgiveness is a great tool for the spiritual warrior. Mm. You know, because as I forgive something, I'm not accept them back in my life, but I want to free myself from hating or having emotions. So I let his destiny, his karma make him feel like dealing with his karma will be better for me. So I accept, I forgive him, I let him go from my hate or my emotions. That doesn't mean I don't want him back, but I just want to feel comfortable with the feeling. So forgiveness is a very powerful spiritual thing.
Forgiveness is a hard one.
Yeah, but for me it's easy because I want to forgive for myself the benefit. Yeah. I don't give you the if you make mouth bad for me, I don't want to give you back in my life, but I want to forgive you for you to be completely out of my mind, you know, and completely give me peace of life and keep loving.
Yeah, you don't want to hold the grudge and drink the poison, hoping it's going to hurt the person that you have the grudge against. It does not do that.
Yeah.
So you have, you spent your life being a champion in a sport that required a lot of physicality, and then you get this diagnosis of Parkinson's.
Yes.
What was that like to originally hear that you have that Parkinson's?
Well, I always been very present because something Jiu Jitsu gave me is the experience of living the now. You know, I cannot live in the future or in the past. I have to be on the now. And as a martial artist, when I get the diagnosis, it was not something to make me happy, but it was just another fight for me. Quitting is not an option. So I would start to deciding not only to listen to a doctor who gave me a pill and said, you do some exercise and let's wait to see what's up and come back in 6 months. I was seeking for much more options and information than that. So I seeking healers in Brazil, doctors all over, natural healing doctors and stuff. And I started changing my life by making fasting, stop drinking alcohol and beer and stuff, stop eating meat, doing like fasting and supplements, a lot of supplements, stop eating flours and purified like any kind of flours or gluten-free. So I was focused on my food intaking, what I eat, how my 5 days a week physiotherapy. So my intention is to beat Parkinson. I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to, but I'm motivated to fight to the last day. And I'm motivated to be happy doing more things. So I'm much more focused on invisible jiu-jitsu. I start to coping with my possibilities and I start to become positive and giving things. I still able to do it and start to be, I cannot training much anymore. I cannot surfing the way I like it anymore. But I gotta get a jet ski. I'm gonna get some other fun toys to play. Start to using more the wind, like a kite surf and windsurf. So I having a lot of plans to still having fun. I have a lot of plans to still teaching. I still feeling like Parkinson is like a companion in the car for a long trip. So he's on my side at the first. But as I travel in my road for life, he's saying, oh, there's no restaurants on the street. This is ugly. I think it's gonna get cold. Just pissed me off telling bullshit BS in my ear. So I stopped the car, get Parkinson, put him on the trunk, close the trunk, go back to my car. Now I'm in charge. So Parkinson is still with me, but he's quiet, silent, and listen what I have to say because I don't want to get beat by him. I don't want to get influenced negatively by him. So Parkinson is just a companion now I have to take of my life. But I'm optimist. I can still live my life with much more things to be grateful about it than complain. So it's just another fight I have to deal with, and I'm happy to be able to have my hands up to still fighting.
Yeah, Parkinson's is another competitor, and you're taking it on as such.
Yes.
Yeah. One of my first thoughts was, it would be hard for the ego, for the identity. We get so caught up as humans in our identities. I've done this a million times, and I just have to keep trying to come back to the present. Was that hard at all? Of this is my identity, being a fighter and having this physicality, as you've gone through this process.
I'm so glad and so happy to have my life as a fighter, and I achieved so many success. I'm undefeated. I have so many fighters, so many friends. I help so much people to get the best they can be. So physically speaking, I have done a lot. So I don't need to do anything else.
Mm.
But spiritually, I still can provide hope. I still can provide faith. I still can provide enlightenment for people. I still can teach breathing. I still can teach balance. I still can teach how to regain and keep your balance against somebody else's will. So I'm very positive and very happy in my mission in life. I have a purpose which is still on, and the difficulties, the problem. We all have problems, so it's not a big deal for me have this problem. I feel like it's part of my karma, and I have to negotiate this the most positive ways possible.
That's so inspiring, and I think it's just a reminder to all of us, and it continues to do exactly your mission, is to help all of us get to that place of enlightenment and learning more each day and getting closer to that. And
Yeah.
I would like to read a little bit from your book, if I can. This is, you explained going on your niece's podcast, and afterward kind of had this, you were kind of surprised about this. So I'm going to read this paragraph. It says, quote, "I was surprised that my admission of human frailty touched so many people. The experience left me feeling that it was time to make lemonade out of the lemons that life had given me. Now I am not just a Jiu Jitsu professor. I am a sick person battling an incurable disease and must walk my talk of acceptance and finding comfort in darkness. This does not rob me of the capacity of being happy. We are all going to die one day, but being unhappy, uninspired, and having no love in my heart is a fate worse than death." End quote. Tell me a little bit about that maybe moment that you recognize that this basically there's a lot of choices for you to make when it comes to your mindset that you made, that this being unhappy and uninspired without love would be worse than death.
I think so. I think because if you lost love in your heart, there's no more life lost all the objectivity. Because I think the world moves with love. All the actions were great actions. They have based on love. Even wars sometimes are based on passion. A bad guy, in order for him to be successful in his life, he has to love to be a bad guy. So love has to be something stronger than anything. And for me, love is the most important thing in my life. I have to be connected with things I love, I'm passionate about, and make my purpose around that. And everything else is just enemies who try to take me from that state of grace, which I try to fight with my gut feelings and all I have, to not allow that kind of mental stress or doubts or being like unconscious or being like not stimulated to do the good. So the dark side, the monsters in your mind can play tricks on you as you get weak. So I feel like being powerful is means take care of your monsters, take care of the ability to bring happiness, bringing contribution to the universe, help somebody. So the relationships are the most important things for me. Happiness coming from a good relationship. People love you, people appreciate you, you love people, you add service. So that kind of relationship make you connect with the universe. No matter how much money you have in your bank, if you feel lonely, if you feel nobody help you, you have no friends. I mean, your money doesn't do good for you. So it's not about the money you have. It's not about the power you have as a politician or anything. So how much respect you are. You want to be a leader. You don't want to be a tyrant. Mm. So I feel like my leadership, my commitment to do good brings me and reflects my soul, my personality to others. And I receive so much love. And that's what I feel like. If I keep that state of trading love and respect and advices and techniques and empowerment, if I'm in this level, any age, any problem, any physical problems are minor comparing to that. So I'm in heaven today.
I love that. And I love how important the love and relationships are. I think anytime I've gone through a hardship, the most pain has come from the stories that I make up about the hardship and what it means for the future and what's going to happen next. It's so much about just the drama of the mind, more so than the moment, the present moment.
Yes.
I love in this interview on the podcast with your niece, you saw Parkinson's not as a surprise, but as another gift from God to see what I'm going to do about it.
Yes, I agree 100% because you have to make lemonade from the lemons you receive, like I said, and you repeat. But the idea is, we have to be ready. We have to live the now. And there's no me, no BS. It's just you cannot trade a problem for another problem. So sometimes you accept the problem, but you keep in your mind the doubts and the insecure state of mind and the fear and you're never free of the problem because the problem is never leaves you. So the idea of empowerment is exactly knowing how to divide the situations, emotional, rational, important things, and you have the tools of the water to be strong. You have the acceptance, you have the hope, you have the faith, you have the visualization, and different elements to give you the empowerment you need to look and become very successful in your choices.
Yeah. I like to ask every guest the same question. We'll wrap with this. What is your number one tip to finding more joy in the good, the bad, and the in-between of life?
I feel like you have to be positive. You have to see life as you want to resolve the matters, not exactly trying to create situations for you to just diminish yourself somehow or get in a situation where you allow yourself to be caught in a doubt. Because wherever you have no solution, you have to accept for the good way. You have to understand things not going to be easy if you put yourself down, if you put yourself. So being powerful inside, being in charge of your own destiny, being in purpose in life is important. Because if you don't have purpose, anything can rock your boat. But if you find yourself purpose in life, you're going to see even the bad days you don't regret because you're going in the good direction. You're going to your purpose. So you see a lot of youngsters today who has no idea what they want, aside of being on the social media and stuff. So they live their lives in a virtual universe. So if they disconnect the phone and they start thinking what I want to do in my life, what's the purpose I have, what's the objectivity I want, what I want to do with my money or my life or my health or my sports, if they become more physically and mentally approaching a purpose, all the situations, they will increase discipline, they will increase commitment, they will increase happiness. Happiness is a mobile thing. What makes you happy today is not going to make you happy 5 years from now. So you have to be in connection with what's make you happy and what's the subtle changes you have to do to keep happiness alive in your life. Because if you just don't concern about this, if you just average Joe who think about focus on the work, from work to the house to the family, educate your kids. So you become in a routine, which sometimes is even not pleasurable. But if you start to negotiate the routine as how I can be better, how I can play more fun with my kid when I get home, not be stressed, how I can be better for my wife, what I need from my relationships to get, empowered, how the relationship with myself, so you have to make questions about how your mental health goes, how your physical health goes, and how your spiritual health goes. This idea of keeping yourself balanced is a choice you can do, because everything is about choices. So you have the right to choose, but you have to accept the overcome of the choices. So make good choices, you're going to have good results.
Thank you so much, Rickson. I loved that. And I'm so thankful that you made the choice to keep on fighting, to put this out, to continue to inspire. I'm just excited to see where your message continues to go and the lives it continues
to impact. Thank you, Danielle.
I
appreciate your help. Appreciate our talk. Hope to see you soon again. And God bless, and talk to you soon.
I hope you enjoyed this conversation. You can find the book in show notes, and you can also, while you're there, leave a rating for the podcast. And don't forget to hit subscribe. Thanks so much for being here on Happiness in Progress.